All right, so this is Ronald Shaw with FTT 100-54319. Today's date is 1/26/2025, and on week 7's assignment, we're going to field strip a firearm once again and go over some of the 8 actions and also clean the firearm using our Otis cleaning supply kit that was provided to us by SDI. So before we start, no live ammunition in the area, just our Spartan carb cleaner, carb destroyer, and our Otis lubricating oil, a couple dry patches, and our brush. Get into the firearm to clear the firearm before we move on to make sure there's no live ammunition. Going to drop the feeding source, visually inspect. There's nothing, no live ammunition in there. We're going to lock back the slide. We're going to do a visual and a physical by sticking our finger down into the barrel, making sure that there is indeed no ammunition in there. So now we can move on with our field strip and releasing there. So our feeding source is going to be our magazine. It's a single stack magazine. To load it up, we would load up our ammunition into our magazine. We would then load the magazine into our firearm. For chambering purposes, we would then take our slide. We would slide the hammer back into position to where the spring and feeder ramp would then take the round and chamber it into the barrel, getting ready, moving into the locking. So then we would release the slide. It is now locked and it is now ready to be fired, to where on the 1911s you have the dovetail safety and it is already cocked and ready to fire. Once the safety is activated, we would then pull the trigger, firing the firing pin into the cartridge, sending the projectile out the barrel, downrange to our target or our animal that we're hunting, or in an unfortunate situation, an intruder. So those are on the 1911. Those are our steps. We'll now begin the field strip process so we can get to the cleaning. So again, we're going to release the hammer, pointing it in a safe direction. We're going to pull down on the hammer, squeeze the trigger, and slowly let up on the hammer. And we will release our feeding source, which is our magazine. We're going to go ahead and set that out of the way. Now on the 1911, what we're going to do is we're going to push down on our button up here, and we're going to swivel our bushing out to 9 o'clock. Slowly release that because it is under spring tension. Wow, that one did slip out of the hands. So then we can now slide this back, lining up our to take out our slide lock. Pull the slide lock out. We can set that off to the side. We can then now pull the slide forward, removing the frame and everything. So now we have our frame. We can set that off to our side. We have our slide. We can now take and remove our spring and guide rod through the bottom, setting that off to the side as well. And now we can remove our barrel through the front after we pull out our lug. From the about roughly 5 o'clock position. We can then now slide our barrel. So now we have our barrel, our end plug, our slide lock, our spring, guide rod, slide. So now that the firearm has been field stripped, we can go on to moving into our cleaning of the firearm. So on the 1911, per the SDI, cleaning book. We're going to start with our barrel and our locking lug. We're going to take the carbon destroyer. This has already been opened. Go ahead and put some on our brush. Just a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and inspect our locking lug all at the same time of cleaning our locking lug, our barrel. And once we get this all done, we're going to go ahead and dry it up. I do not have shop air or compressed air currently in my kitchen. So we'll then just go ahead and dry it with a dry patch. So now we have that. We can go ahead and grab a dry patch. We can then make sure that the locking lug and barrel are all dried and cleaned. Along the way, again, I know I've said it before, inspecting as well. We want to make sure that these are going to be in good working condition and order. Then next we will be moving on to cleaning out, taking some of our, we still have some of our carbon destroyer from Spartan. We're going to go ahead and inspect the slide and clean it up as well. Getting this all, like I said, again, it'll be thorough, inspected while we go ahead and clean. And come through here as well. Get that all nice and cleaned up. Go ahead and come back along here. You want to make sure you keep any solvent and oil out of our firing pin area. And make sure everything is nice and dry. Again, inspecting everything. Go ahead and grab another. Go ahead and clean the tip of this out. If you have rubber gloves, they're recommended. Not that I'm allergic to any of this stuff, but just sometimes the stuff you just don't want all over your hands. It keeps everything clean. So now that the barrel and locking lugs are clean and the slide is cleaned, we're just going to go ahead and take the brush, go back over where the slide rails connect, get those nice and cleaned up as well. Mind you, keeping the firing pin area and that dry. So we get that all. We can go ahead and take a dry patch, clean that up. That all nice and clean, nice and dry. All right, I would say that is all taken care of there. Now we're going to take some of the lubricant from the Otis cleaning kit. Go ahead and open that up. And then we're just going to, the slide rails here, just gonna just run just a little bit on each side there. And then same thing with the slide. Just going to go ahead and put some here, and there, flip to the other side, the same thing. And then just a small amount to the liberal or the walking lug area. Now that we have that done, we can go ahead with the reassembly of the firearm. So we have our slide, our barrel. With that, we are going to keep our barrel here. Remember to push that forward, slide the barrel in, slide that all the way back. Take here, make sure that we're lined up, keeping this in that position there, and you will feel it lock in. We can take our guide rod and our spring, take that off. We can feed that through here. Fumble around with it. Put that locked into place. Now put this there, like so, keeping everything here. That all lined up. And once you get so far, you can remove your thumb. Get this to slide back. We are now going to line everything up back here and push the barrel back as far as it goes. And then once you have it and you get this lined up a little too far, come back a little bit right there. Take our slide lock, push it through, lock it into place like that. Take that over there. We're then going to push push this back down to here. Once that is there, we can slide that back to there. Once that's there, push our button back in. Come on. Oops. This has to be over here. Let's push that into here. Come over there. Now we can cycle it nice and smooth. Everything worked as it's supposed to. And then taking it back off safe, we can release the hammer in a safe, pointing the firearm in a safe direction, push down, release the trigger. Everything is back to running order.